Thanks once again for joining us for your update from the city of New Hope. Time to talk again with the mayor, Kathi Hemken, to find out what's new and coming up in the city of New Hope. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. Just fine. It's nice to see the sun out today.
Yes, I've got it coming right in the office here. So we're going to go with the sun here throughout this update. It's good to see it. Let's talk about some things happening in the city. We begin in community development. We've been talking about the airport zoning board, and there had to be some changes of dates, but now we've got a new date in case people are interested in finding out more. Tell us about that.
We do. Well, as I have said before, the zoning is different for the airport. And because we don't really have a direct effect on it, they want us to be part of that. So that meeting is going to be on the 19th of April at the Crystal Community Center. It'll start 4 o'clock, 4:30. There'll be some members of the board there, so they'll answer some questions if you have questions or just want to see what it affects and what they're doing. So if you don't have anything else to do in April, go to that.
All right, we're going to talk about scattered site housing. A lot happening here, so get ready. A lot of updates. The first is on 36 in Louisiana. That house position and process is moving right along.
It is. We bought the house. We hired a team to demolish it. So the hazardous materials all been removed. And now what's going to happen is the West Metro Fire Department is going to do some exercises there and practice there. They've got 4 or 5 dates in April. And what we'll do is we'll send out letters to the residents around there so they'll know that that's what's happening there. They're not going to actually light it on fire, by the way, but they do practice being in the house, and they'll practice putting smoke in the house and getting out. But I just want people to know, in case they drive by and they see the fire trucks there, it's not a fire, it's they're just practicing.
All right, let's move to 42nd and Boone. We've talked a lot about that property, and it looks like things moving ahead.
Well, that's the old treehouse property, and it is moving ahead. So we've set the closing date now for the end of March on that. And once it's closed, then they'll start the building of the homes. They're going to do the south one first, and I imagine they're going to have to wait for the snow to go away before they start digging. But as soon as that's able to go in there, they'll start on that house.
Now to a property on 49th and Winnetka. You have some good news to pass along here.
Well, we've been looking at that for a couple of years, and we had approached them, and basically they weren't ready to move. They needed to find a place to be. Well, I think they're ready now. So we made an offer on the house. It's 4965 Winnetka. We made an offer on the house. Now we're just working on the details, and once that's actually accepted, then what we'll do is the same thing. We'll hire a demolition team. They'll go in there to make sure there aren't any hazardous materials that need to be removed. And then once that's done, they'll tear that down. So I don't know if they're going to practice the fire or the police are going to be there. We don't know that yet. We just know that we do have the property.
Final property is 5802 Boone. And again, another one we've been following for quite some time. And this looks like progress is happening as well.
Oh, thank goodness. That's that boarded up house. It's just north of Bass Lake Road. It was in foreclosure. And when it's in foreclosure, the process is terribly long. So we've made an offer to the bank, because it's now bank owned, made an offer to the bank. We're waiting to hear back whether or not we'll get that. If we do, that also will go through the process of the demolition team going in, and whether or not we'll use it for training. We don't know that yet. It depends on what kind of shape the house is in once we're inside there.
Final note from community development. They work with the business networking group, and it looks like you're still looking for a host or someone to talk about their business at the upcoming meeting.
Well, we are. That would be April 5th at 8:30 in the morning. Love to go to some of these wonderful businesses we have in New Hope, but nobody has stepped forward yet. If they don't, we'll have it at City Hall, and then we'll just, if somebody wants to host it, but host it at City Hall, it really isn't a big expense. Bring in a little water and maybe a donut to cut in 14 pieces, but it's just interesting to all be together. So the meeting will happen on the 5th. We just don't know where it's going to be yet, but that notice will come out as soon as we have a date, or not a date, we have a date as soon as we have a host.
Okay, let's jump ahead to the police department. A few updates to pass along here. First is their delivery of meals. It continues on very successfully.
It does. We get the best feedback from that, and the officers just love it. So between the officers loving it and the people that are receiving it, loving it, what a wonderful idea to do some community development.
Community engagement also very big for the police department in a number of ways. And here's an interesting story that just happened recently, going to a meeting of a Bible study and ending up with some gift cards to maybe give to people that the police meet with. Give us the background of this story.
Brad Callio, our community service officer, is trying really hard to be out in the community. And anytime anybody requests him to go, he goes. So this is I'm going to read it so I don't get it wrong. The Women's Bible Study Group at New Hope Church. So after the presentation, usually they talk about fraud and what the police department's doing. Well, after that, they gave them some gift cards to Cub and to Holiday Gas so that they could distribute it to residents that they bump into that are in need of that. So thank you very much, New Hope Church and the Bible Study Group.
That is amazing. One final note in police, we want to talk about the Cat Guard program. We've talked about this a few times, but want to send out a reminder and also a website you see at the bottom of the screen, newhopemn.gov/catguard. Mayor, remind us again what the Cat Guard program is and why residents should get involved.
Well, it has nothing to do with felines, by the way.
Right, not that
It
kind
has
of cat.
everything to do with catalytic converters. And you can go into the police department between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if you go online, it'll tell you what you need to bring. But they'll give you an ID number, and you're going to ID that catalytic converter so that in the event that it does get taken, we can then go back and find the people that are doing that. Well, when the bad guys go and try to take your catalytic converter and it's got a number on it, they usually find another that doesn't have a number. So it really, if you want to keep your catalytic converter where it is, you might want to go in there. And this is a free thing that they do at the police department. They're just trying to stop that theft any way they can.
All right. Again, that website you see, newhopemn.gov/catguard. Find out more. Let's go to Public Works and talk about some of the things that are keeping them busy. We have two main topics. We have potholes and snow. Let's start with potholes. It's the season, isn't it, Mayor?
Well, if you've been driving around anywhere at all, there's huge potholes. I saw a video of a guy fishing in a pothole.
That's serious.
I don't think our potholes are quite that big, but we know about the ones that are on the main streets. What we don't know is the ones that are on those side streets. So if people would go online or call Public Works at New Hope and tell them about a pothole that's in front of their house or one that's on a street that's they're driving by, it's really helpful for us because we don't necessarily just go driving around looking for these things. If it's on Winnetka or the busier streets, 42nd, 36, we know about those. We just don't know the ones on the side streets. So please give us a call, let us know where it is, or go online and let us know, and we'll get that thing fixed. Now, the other part of that is fixing a pothole is always dependent on weather.
Right.
So we need dry, warm weather to be able to put the stuff in the pothole. If we just patch it now, it's just going to come out because it's too cold. But the more we know, the better job we'll do, because then we can do them all at once when we find them. So that would be good. Now, the other part, those snowplow drivers, they're getting very, very tired. I understand we're in the top 10 snowfall days in Minnesota.
Right.
It's been just really busy for them. So we should be good this week, but I think they'll be out again on Friday. They're really good about plowing that snow. They get up at 2 in the morning and they get the main streets because the sun's warm enough so they can get it. If they get it early, the sun will warm it up so the streets are dry. So we do a really good job of plowing, but those guys are getting tired.
It has been a tough winter, again, in the top 10 of all time snowfalls in a winter. So that is amazing. And we might just go up a little bit further. We'll see. Let's go to something a little brighter, nothing with snow. Let's go to Park and Rec and talk about some of the things that are happening. First, some great news from the Tumblers program. Tell us where this group has been and what they've done.
Well, the Tumblers are the gymnastics kids, and they had a tournament last weekend, and they finished really, really well. So we're really proud of them, and they're just cute to watch. And then our dance team went to Chanhassen, and a lot of the teams do little skits, little dances. Well, I guess we got a first, second, and third in different categories. So they also did well.
Congratulations to all of the youngsters involved in those. Let's move ahead to talk a little bit about some of the older ones in the city that might be looking for a job, and you have plenty of job opportunities. What's available and how can people find out more?
We are, again, you can go online into jobs or work positions. So
Mhm.
we're looking for umpires, we're looking for playground attendants, we're looking for field attendants. There's also some jobs at the aquatic park. And pretty soon we'll be looking for the seasonal workers that'll be mowing and doing the things that are summer related. So if you're looking for a job, no matter how old you are, over, I think it's 16,
Okay.
you might have to be a little older to run those bigger machines, but we're always looking for help.
Yeah, plenty of
So,
opportunities. Let's talk about something that might seem out of season, especially with that snowy picture of the golf course in New Hope behind you. But I understand Little League baseball players are out for tryouts, but not outside.
not outside. Well, Plymouth and New Hope have a combined Little League team, and they had tryouts at our community gym. So the city owns the gym that's connected to Cooper High School. And the deal is that Cooper uses it during the day, and then we use it on the weekends and in the evenings. What a great place to have tryouts for these little guys, so they don't have to be outside. We can kind of see who they are, and so I don't know what happens after the tryouts. That's not my thing, but I
Mhm.
do know it's kind of interesting that they can try out inside in a warm environment.
Well, here's something in Park and Rec we don't talk about too often, and maybe residents don't know that there is a city forester, but there indeed is in the city of New Hope. And I understand that forester now has some extra skills and abilities that helps him with pest identification. Tell us more.
Well, I didn't know this either. We do have a forester, and he's the one that's been going around looking for the emerald ash borer and painting the orange circles on the trees, and he's just everywhere. Well, I got to get this right. He went to a forest pest first detector. So he is a pest first detector now,
Okay.
working with the DNR. So when they think there's a disease in trees in the city, they'll send these first detectors out to look at the trees so that they can get a handle on where those trees are and what needs to be done with it. But I had no idea.
All right. Another way the city helps people out. And speaking of those diseased trees, the golf course has been a target area where a lot of trees coming down. Give us an update on the tree removal at the golf course, and also looking ahead, opportunity to get in some leagues.
Well, 50 trees so far have been taken down. And these guys are out there, they don't go out in the snow, but as soon as it's a day like this where it's sunny, they need to be out while the grounds are still frozen. So
Mhm.
they've been cutting these down, 50 of them. And that's a lot of brush. So it's noisy and they're cutting them down, they're removing that. Last I heard, I thought we had 83 that had to come down. So they'll be busy doing this, and then they'll be planting, of course. They're trying to get the stumps ground out too. So busy at the golf course. It looks really messy right now, but something's happening.
All
So
right.
this is the time, if you were on a league last year, this is the time to go in and register for league for this coming up. Now,
Mhm.
after that period of the people that were on leagues last year is over, they'll open it up to the general public and they can come out and sign up for leagues. Good time to buy your season pass or your
Right.
punch card or whatever it is you're going to do. And I'm going with my team there on Thursday, and I warned them ahead, we want hot dogs.
All right.
We're going there for lunch.
Start the machine up, and also lessons, something that they're looking at registering people for right now. So if you're interested in getting a little lesson before the season, they can help you out with that as well. Over to the ice arena, understand it's time to turn off the refrigeration in one of the rinks to do a little cleanup work. What goes on?
So this is a long process, by the way. They
Mhm.
turn off the coolant to the south rink, and then the ice starts to melt, and they have to suck the water out of there till they get down to the floor, and then they can repair the floor. Now, I don't know how much they need to repair that floor, but they do take the ice out every now and then, like once or twice every other year. And
Mhm.
then they'll look and see if there's cracks or what else needs to be done to that floor. So we don't know until the ice is out what's happening. So they've had a skating school, and now that's over. So they'll have an exhibition on the 18th of March, and
Mhm.
that's 12 to 1, and they'll be on the North Rink, and that's free to go watch. So if you've got little people that were in skate school, you can go watch them, or if you just want an hour of entertainment, you can go watch them do that. Now, there's lots of stuff happening on the 18th. One of
Yes,
the
it
other
does.
things that's happening is, I gotta get this right now, is the food drive. West Metro Fire goes and stands out in front of Hy-Vee with their boots and asking for donations for the food shelf or any kind of food that's non-perishable. They have carts out there. They're also going to be at the like a Cub store and at Aldi's and at Olmsted's, any place that West Metro services. So they'll be at all of the fire stations plus those other places. So if you see them and you have an extra buck, be nice to actually help them.
Mhm.
And the other thing that's happening on the 18th is Don't It Make You Wonder?
Yeah.
So that's from 10 to 11:30 at the Crystal Community Center. And this month it's Women's History Month. So
Mhm.
the female police chief in Crystal, the female fire chief at West Metro, and the mayor of New Hope are going to be just talking about what
Great.
Women's History Month means to us. So
Mhm.
that's $3 if you care to come and have a cup of coffee and a donut. You get to choose one of these fun events to go to, and maybe if you're really good, you can go to all of them.
That's right. Maybe you can do the trifecta on March 18th and get into all those activities. Sounds like lots of fun. A few other points to update on in the city. One is under human resources, talking about the search for the city manager recruitment. Tell us a little bit about the process up to today and what comes next.
Well, this is really exciting because our city manager retired in June of last year. And then the police chief took over the acting city manager job, thinking he was going to do both jobs. Well, that wasn't going to work out real well. So he's gone back to being the police chief, but he's going to stay as the interim until we find somebody. So we hired a search firm, and we now have, as of this morning, we had 25 applicants. I'd say about 2/3 of them are from out of state. The other third are from in this state area. What they'll do after all these applicants are done, and they have until the 14th to get their application in. After that's done, they'll do a little video where they ask them all a couple questions. And then the city council and I will look at all of those videos, pick out 4 or 5 that we want to actually interview in person, and then we'll move on with that. So we're hoping to hire somebody by the 1st of June. We'll see how that goes.
Final note is this is one of the ways you can find out what's happening in the city, but also the city's website, social media, great ways to find out what is going on. And currently on social media, information about the curbside appeal reimbursement program. Mayor, you just wanted to make a final note about that. There's still money available. And what is the process we need to follow if we might want to get on board?
So the whole idea is that it's the curb appeal. So nothing in the backyard, nothing in the sides. We just want a curb appeal. And when it comes to windows, they want to make sure that you're actually enlarging the space of the windows. So it's just not window replacement. So when you have a project that you're interested in doing, you need to submit those forms and that project to the community development team so they can look at it to make sure that that's a project that we're going to reimburse you for.
Mhm.
So that reimbursement is 25% of the total number of the project up to a certain dollar limit. But make sure that you get those plans into the community development department before you actually go through the process, unless you don't want the refund.
All right, place to go to find out more is at newhopemn.gov, the city's website. Also, another place to go for all the information in the city is this. It's the In Motion. We're going to leave you with a list of some of the events coming up in the city in just a second. Many you can find out more details right here in this magazine, which has been sent out to residents, Mayor, but also available at City Hall in case you lost your copy, correct?
Yep, there's lots of them there. You should have gotten one in the mail. If for no other reason, pick one up because the cover makes you smile.
Yes, it does. Look at those kids in the mud, and you could be in the mud later this year. We'll, I'm sure, talk more about that as well. Mayor, thanks once again for your time. Appreciate it, and we will see you once again next week.
Thanks, Dave. See you then.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.